Welcome back to Indian Trace. That is an outstanding setup. I just got done taking a couple documentation photographs of these artifacts. And you really need to. At least I need to. Because these are my top shelf pieces from this last couple weeks. It's moving day. And I've done moving days and had great moving days. I had a great moving day 2 weeks ago. And now 2 weeks later, I've got to move these. And so a lot of these are going to move into my display case. We're going to take a look at them today. And some of them are going to move into another home, another hand, another admirer of the artifacts of the North American Indian. If there were others here to find, other artifacts that is, well, I would do my best to seek and to save them and to find them. But this is all that's left from 3, 4, 5,000 years ago. And that's okay. You know, we do what we can to save. I was just having a chat with Brooksy, and he was mentioning that he doesn't find a whole lot of hammerstones. And we're going to go around this and just have a chat about all these that I need to engage myself into moving day. It's a special day. It's a day of reflection and a day where I just really get humbled. I went out today and although I find a lot, I found nothing. Nothing. Just really the conditions weren't perfect. They weren't ready. And you know, you just roll the dice and you do your best with sites and areas that you think you're going to be successful in. And although I went to some good areas, just as on the edge of being ready, we're not ready. Anyway, let me go around here and see if I can make sense of what we're going to look at today. I think I'm going to start and do a full circle going this way. It's a nice marble mountain from the garden. Actually, these 2 points are from the garden. And Brooksy was saying he doesn't find a whole lot of hammerstones. You know, and it's funny to me because I find a lot of hammerstones here. Here's a neat thing about this piece here, Marble Mountain. It's got a little hump. Many points do. Just couldn't get that piece of rock off of there. And you know what? Bet you it didn't matter. Bet you it didn't matter. So he says they don't find a whole lot of hammerstones, and I find that strange. But at the same time, I don't find any adze. I don't find any axes, and I mean any, not even broken ones. Don't find them. Look at this piece from the garden. This is sort of a cleanup too, because I rarely do cleanups to give you a great look up close and personal of some of these artifacts. Some of this stuff is absolutely G10 in my book. Best you can find. And I mean in a 2-week period. Probably a little less than that, probably about 10 days, 11 days. It's just unbelievable to me. All the sites that these came from have been pretty much refreshed, and they're waiting for the rains to return in here in eastern central North Carolina. The rains will come back. Nice piece here from Notchville. And so I just shared with him that I don't find adze, I don't find axes, I don't find celts, nothing like that. I believe I have some great hunting grounds, ambush sites that produce this kind of artifacts and these kind of points. I believe I have some great campsites that produce the pottery that you've seen on this channel. I haven't brought in the hammerstones I found this week, and I haven't brought out the pottery that I found this week. It's been appropriated into other display sections and what have you. And I just bring out my points or other tools. I do find drills. That's a tool that I do find here. But it's just strange. You know, I made this comment to him as we look at these things on moving day, that there's so many mysteries, which makes it a good hobby. So many mysteries that we can't just assume that we know everything. I mean, we're so insignificant. We've lived for such a short speck of time compared to these artifacts, compared to these North American Indians and their lives. I'm trying to give you a unique sight of this as we just drift by this, almost as if you could handle it, hopefully. This is the one I found yesterday, as a matter of fact. I went out to the poison grass, which Notchville has been poisoned. They're going to get ready to plant it, which means it's going to be able to be refreshed, and another opportunity to find stuff out there. It's just absolutely crazy to me. And when I say that, I really mean it. I mean, it stuns me. It keeps me off balance. And that's a good thing. But all in all, our sites, all the sites that we have, for example, Flint's Ball and the Sidekick or OSG, he's pulling out boatloads of flint, boatloads of tools, core rocks, hammerstones, occupation sites. I'll go to a site where I've got a lot of good pottery. Interesting thing about the pottery, and I was chatting with another friend, Frank, out there, is that the pottery that I find, pieces, even big pieces coming off the garden lately. You saw those. Nice points, right? The big pieces coming off the garden, and this is from the garden right here, piece of rhyolite. The pottery, it's all broken up, but on the edges, the breaks are not new. I rarely find much pottery at all with new breaks. All the breaks are old breaks. It's very interesting, and it's not a dump site, a midden pile or what have you, like Jonesy might dig, and we haven't seen him digging in the midden pile. I hope he's okay out there. A midden pile full of junk. It's their dumping site. They dump broken pottery out there. Of course, points were mixed in because all this that you see, even though we love it and we think it's highly valuable, in today's day and age, in the postmodern age, it is highly valuable. You can't buy anything that you're looking at right here on this channel, on this film right here. None of these. I couldn't have bought any of these. Unique, one of a kind. But to them, they were expendable. Throw away. Not important. They were well able to make them efficiently and quickly. Hope the focus is coming in there. So no worries, right? So they have these piles, and Jonesy digs these piles where he's pulling out tons of pottery that's all broken and was broken up and dumped in there. And, it has been broken for a while. So, but then there are folks who get to places or whatever where they're actually finding full pots. I mean, that's just, I can't even comprehend that, of where that in the ground could be around here. Now, I don't dig. I don't really have to. You look at this, look at this bevel. It's cleaned up now. A lot of people like bevels and what have you. This came off of W Properties, which is planted and ready, just waiting on rain. It's a severe bevel. I'm not a real kin to it. It's not any big deal to me. I think it's cool. Strong bevels on both sides. I guess it's indicative of something, maybe a time period or whatever. But between a strong bevel, if I can get the focus here on some good quartz, and it's a nice piece. Between that strong bevel and a solid, straightforward point like this, my affinity is going with a straightforward point like that. So as we chat here, just about simple stuff and collecting, another thing is blowing my mind. The site that a lot of these pieces, like this piece here, coming off the garden, this piece next to it, another absolute crazy Guilford Yuma, came off the garden. So many pieces here came off the garden. Remember this piece? That's a garden piece. A lot of pieces are from the garden. This piece, these two pieces, this rhyolite on the left, which is green, and then this notch point here are from the garden. So that's a developing site. But then there's a lot of other sites that you're used to, like the Falcon, like Notchville. Those two right there, Notchville. The Hawk, Saponi. Interesting rhyolite point from Saponi. Look at this though. I've got to show you this as we get going, and just wanted to do a cleanup and a moving day. These are going to move. They're going to get into my display box, and we're going to get things arranged and assembled, and we're going to make room in little baskets just like that where I put them all. Pretty simple, right? And looks a whole lot better with all these points in them. Jeez, my focus. And you got to make room, inevitably. As I've done for 5 years, I just keep moving forward and sort of just try to find a method to the madness. Look at the work on this point, will you? It's been seen before, but a cleanup is worthwhile. The core rock is right there. Didn't hold them up at all. Severely old piece. I happen to believe their ratings on this piece, which for Guilford Yuma is probably around 8,000 BC. For many, 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 many reasons, I believe it. And have fought through dispensations. Uh, and a lot of it takes a lot of faith in the understanding of God's plan for man on this earth and mankind, and as far as the North American Indian go. I mean, you got another Guilford Yuma that dates about the same period. I mean, this is an incredible piece as well. Look at these two Guilford Yumas right here. Crazy. From different sites though, because these two pieces came from the garden. Completely unique piece that somebody told me about. Very rare piece. In rhyolite. Here's a great piece right here. 3 of my favorites, and we'll finish it on up. We'll start with this. From the garden just the other day. Paramount piece. Caught live on film. Then this, the beginning of the 2-week period. I went out to Riverwood. It was the only piece I found there. But I'm going to tell you what, this speaks volumes of the site. There's a lot of flint there, a lot of broken points, and I found a lot of footprints. So I know something's going on there, and I won't give it up. I'll try again. Unbelievable drill. Very rare stuff. Very rare stuff. So that's just a great piece. I don't have too many of those. Very rare. What is not as rare as these Guilfords, but I'll finish with one of my absolute favorites, as Rob knows, is a Guilford Yuma. The elegance, the surefire use of these things. As that ladle dart tips. Beautiful stuff. This point is just magnificent. Good balance, good size. You can tell where they hafted it in. Made it actually stronger down at the base where they were doing all the hafting. Can you see the difference where they started to flake it differently? Hopefully it's coming in. Specimen, thing of beauty, right? I can tell where they started to flake it differently so that they could keep strength down here and haft it right in. Ancient piece. Would have been great to see, and we all say this, it would have been great to see the men, the women that produced these. What a strong race of humanity and mankind. Incredible people. Dexterous, strong, creative. I mean, just look. Just when you think you're not going to find a point that you've never seen before, you always do. You find points all the time, and you're like, well, you look at that. You can see the person. You can see how unique, one of a kind it is. So far removed from an assembly line American material culture that it should make you a better person inside. It should make your heart better. So anyway, enough talking. I wanted to give you a really good look and a good flyby of a fantastic 2 weeks. We're going to move forward, hope for some good rain, and like I said, I could use the rest. I've got some sites that are well ready, but I dare not go out there now. You know how it is. You have to watch and know your conditions. So, from Indian Trace to all you guys out there, I appreciate you tuning in and comments and just unbelievable stuff here. It's just a mind blower to me continually. It's a great finishing shot right there. Hope you find out there. And for some of you, you know, it's just hard to stop looking. Where's a good stopping point when you're getting a good overview of some fantastic ancient North American Indian artifacts? Better than the museum, I'm telling you. I've seen a lot of you. Whether it's things that Brooksy's setting up or things Flintsball's setting up or Richard, we're pulling out and saving and documenting in a better way and showing and sharing. We've passed many of the museums. I'm sure of it. And I grew up going to museums. So, we're doing mobile museums. We're doing digital museums. And you got to go to the museum today, the Indian Trace Museum. So I hope you have a great day. And hope the conditions are right, and I hope you find some stuff out there. Appreciate you tuning in.